Hello, everybody, and welcome into the last NFC home game preview of the season for the show. We're not doing Week 18 content because if you have a league that plays in Week 18, you don't need fantasy advice. You need a new commissioner. Anyways, with that in mind, I am Aaron St. Dennis at FF Mad Scientist. That's Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. How's it going, Jesse? Did you was it painful last night, Thursday night, or
Nah, last night was good. I had Joe Flacco in the league. He balled out. I had Njoku. I also paired Flacco with Ford, so we were loving the Cleveland situation last night. It was like 4 or 5 leagues I had Cleveland players going, and I didn't go against any Flacco. Is there anything? I went Ford against that at third place game, but it's third place game. I don't care. So overall, I loved everything I saw. I was hyped. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So overall, it was a very good day. How about you?
I had only really 3 leagues that the game was important to me in. 2 of them I did well. I had Njoku and Hall in one, and I think I had Hall in the other, and it was good. It was better than I could have hoped. The final league was the one I wanted to win most, and I went up against Flacco.
Oh no!
So I kind of did it to myself. The guy I was facing, it's a coworker, and he lost Herbert, and the guy in the league was trying to trade him Hurts for Herbert and ETN. And I'm like, oh, that's way too much. I'm like, do you really want to pay that much to try and beat me this week? We already split the money, so it doesn't matter. I'm like, you really want to sell your future, to win this week? And he's like, no, you're right. I'll just roll with Flacco. And it was good advice. Like, I believed at the time. And I'm sitting there going, fuck, I wish I had told him to trade for Hurts. So I was already like, he's got a stacked team. He's traded away his picks for like 5 years in advance. And well, not, it's probably the 25, 6, 7, 24, 5, 6. So 3 years in advance. That's as far out as we go. So it's a team where it's the one I was talking about yesterday, where it's got a lot of big names, but they could all suck. Like it could be Diggs, Adams, and all that. So he was picked to beat me by 10. Now he's picked to beat me by 25. So I'm like, well, not off to a solid start. So I think it won me a league in 2 leagues last night, and it cost me at least one, I think. So
Understandable.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, immediately, I'm like, okay, let's see if I can start selling some players here and turn over and focus on next year. So I'm trying to trade away my quarterback, and I'll end up starting Gardner Minshew, but I'm trying to tear down from Lamar to Burrow and something, Herbert and something. And people are like, well, why do you want to take a quarterback? You're not going to be able to play this week. Well, I'm not going to win this week anyway, so I might as well Minshew in and just try and turn a profit. But
hell yeah, absolutely. Like that's what.
Like I said, I already cashed out, so I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's just a trophy at this point. All right. I guess we can get into it then. Do NFC home games for the last time. Excuse me.
Some good ones.
We have what I see is a lot of one good team, one bad team. There's only one game, which I will save for last, that has 2 what I think are good teams, and it will
the juggernaut.
Yes. This one is not 2 good teams. It is the best NFC team and probably the second worst NFC team. So we've got 49ers at Commanders, Purdy and Howell. It is one of the, if not best, I've got to bring up my fucking rankings and matchups. We've been talking so much, I forgot to do that. But off the top of my head, great matchup for Purdy, terrible matchup for Howell. I think I have Howell. Howell. It's not even going to be Howell. It's Brissett, right?
Yep, that's actually a good thing for him.
Brissett, Howell, whoever the hell ends up playing, they're both going to play a half, I think, because they're both. Brissett's just as bad, but I have no interest in either of them, even in Superflex. And Purdy, I believe I have at 6 overall, 5. Let me double check here. I've got Purdy at 6, so that's a pretty solid guess. But so Purdy's a must start, and Commanders quarterback A or B is a must avoid. How about you?
I think Howell's it's not Howell, Jesus Christ. It's Jacoby Brissett. I actually think he's a much better quarterback than Howell. He doesn't have the ebbs and flows that Howell has, where he gives you a higher floor. Obviously, his matchup sucks for him, but he's the last quarterback of like in the Superflex rankings where once we get past Flacco, it's like, okay, I could start this guy, but outside of that, then I'm just like, no. So he's my QB 24 this week.
He doesn't have the ebbs and flows or the highs and lows, but he doesn't have anywhere near the ceiling. He's like, if you look at him, he's like 15 to 18 points every game. Like you're just going to get low end QB2 production no matter what.
Yeah. It's a rough matchup. I just think with Bieniemy, they're just going to chuck it a ton. So like it could work out where he ends up with like 15, 20 points for you. So if you're desperate, sure. But overall, and we're rolling with Purdy and not doing anything else with Washington.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to type up to get my rankings up here. Define what it's like to be an expert right here, or an analyst right here. I have a guy who I told you created a tweet thread or whatever, and I've been setting his lineup since week 4. I looked back, I am 39 for 39. Somehow in math, it is a complete anomaly. I have not missed once on this guy with this guy. I gave him great advice that worked last night. He has one remaining lineup question, and he still doubts me. I am 39 for 39, and he's going, well, I don't know. It's really close for me.
Oh,
I was
that's the worst.
39 times. You're not going to give me the benefit of the doubt here? Like, what do you want me to do?
Like, I hate when I'll get plenty DMs with question marks, and then people that will like literally have their own idea coming into the question, and then they're like, but this guy knows this. I'm like, well, yeah, why are you asking me this question?
They want
literally
confirmation bias is what they want.
Yeah.
He already had his decision made for this position. It was Kittle over Laporta. He wanted me to go with Laporta. I said Kittle. Yeah, but it's like, I get it. If you don't want to listen to me, then don't listen to me. But I've literally never let you down once all season. So if anyone deserves a little faith, it might be me in this instance. I'm just like, fuck, man.
Dude,
but anyways,
what's going to happen? This one's going to be the one you miss just based on odds.
So running backs, 5th best matchup for McCaffrey, 25th best matchup for Brian Robinson. Not sure if he plays yet. CMC's my 1. I'm going to have Commanders lower here. I've got Gibson at 34, Robinson at 37. Robinson will go up about 10 to 12 spots if he plays. Not really sure if he's going to play or not. What are your thoughts here other than CMC is incredible? And
this might be the biggest gap in projections I've ever had. He's projected for almost 10 more points than the next running back this week. Like, I don't know what's going on with my projections, but they're out of control for McCaffrey this week. But
this one scares me, though, because they may not need to play him in the second half.
No, like, it's one of those where he's just going to go nuclear in the first half. Like,
and Robinson is limited again today.
Yeah, like, obviously, if Robinson plays, he's going to shoot up the rankings just because he's been better this entire year. They trust him in that offense and all that. But I have Gibson above him just because we don't know what's going to happen.
Robinson looks like it's going to be a no-go.
Yeah, so it's really Gibson and nobody else. So like this is the whole we had Chris Rodriguez, he's on my IR. So if you need to play Gibson, I don't mind it because he's still a good pass catcher. So you can get there. He's gonna jump up in my rankings. I think he's 43. I'm probably gonna put him right in the Chuba Hubbard range, DeAndre Swift range, like 25, 26 right there. Well, that's where I'll jump him up if we get no Robinson. Just because I'm gonna get a running back with volume because there's nobody else on that roster that they're gonna trust to get the rock. So overall, you could do worse than playing him. I mean, you really want to play Derek Gore or any one of those guys, Wendell Smallwood, no thank you. They're not going to play them. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with those guys.
I hate this new keyboard. I told you I got my kid a new setup here for his gaming PC for Christmas. And the problem is now when I'm trying to discreetly type up information that I need in the background, I noticed that yesterday when I rewatched the show, you can hear tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, the sounds.
Of me typing away. I'm going, this is the loudest fucking keyboard ever. But it's specifically for gaming and the keys are all set up. And I'm going, this is brutal. This keyboard's so fucking loud. How am I supposed to? Because there's times in the show, I'll sneak over to Sleeper and I'll type in Brian Robinson to see what his status is. And I'm going, motherfucker, I can hear me typing on the show.
That's like me when someone will talk and I'll be clicking the mouse and it's kind of loud. And I'm like, oh, damn it. I can hear that mouse.
He loves it because, like I said, it's a whole new setup. It was a mic, keyboard, and a mouse, and he loves it for gaming, but it's driving me nuts. Wide receivers, we have that's still running back. Second best matchup for the 49ers, and the Commanders get the 14th best matchup. Debo, I think I've finally come around, and I will have Debo as the highest. It only took me 17 weeks. I have Debo as 8. I have
welcome.
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 Let's not go crazy. Just a sec. I have Debo at 8. I have Ayuk at 9. So I didn't really fully buy in here. I'm still hedging my bets, and then I have McLaurin at 28. I never thought I'd say this, but I don't have any interest in any other commander, which is amazing because I was the Jahan Dotson guy. And I had this conversation about sometimes it's not the trades you make, it's the trades you don't make.
Yep.
Jahan Dotson, Drake London were guys I was huge on all season. I couldn't get them, and then they were just total duds. So what have you got here for basically 3 receivers?
I am insanely high on the San Francisco wide receivers. They're back-to-back. They're both top 6. I am all in on the San Francisco.
What do you have them? I have them 8 and 9.
I have them 5 and 6.
No,
Back to back. It's absurd. No, but just the fact they're both top 6 options is bonkers. Like,
yeah, in a game where they may not need to pass. Yeah.
And I there's a tiered gap in the rankings and like projections. Like Debo is significantly ahead, but they're still back to back. Is how it works. Like I've always loved Debo. He's been one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL. Just the way he plays, him and Kittle. I'll ever hold a candle for those two guys. But fantasy wise, yeah, like it comes and goes just because the offense is so good. But overall, yeah, I'm starting both those guys with confidence. And the fact that Brissett is starting quarterback, I'm much more confident in Terry McLaurin than I would be because Brissett actually can get him the ball and they can feed him. So yeah, McLaurin's top 30. You could start him. He's definitely like wide receiver 3 range for me this week.
I tell you, whoever you start for the 49ers, you better hope you have their fantasy points by halftime because you may not get anything in the second half. But
yeah, we'll get the Elijah Mitchell show.
Jesus Christ. Tight ends, 26th best matchup for Kittle, 22nd best matchup for Wilson. I have Kittle at 2, which is why I recommended him over Laporta. I have Logan Thomas all the way down at 23. My, how the mighty have fallen. Kickers, excuse me. Best matchup for Jake Moody of the Niners. 8th best matchup for Joey Sly of the Commanders. I have Jake Moody at 4. Joey Sly has not been good. I have him still all the way down at 27. DST's 3rd best matchup for the Niners, worst matchup for the Commanders. The Niners are lower than I would have thought. I have them at 5. I feel like I want to put them up to – I've moved them up to 2. They are now 2. And the Commanders are 32, so yeah, don't play them.
That makes sense. I mean, it's just the lack of the Brissett just doesn't turn it over like Howell does. He doesn't make as many danger plays. That's all it is. So like it makes sense. It just come down a little bit because you're not getting the 30-point week. I mean, you technically still could get it, but it's going to bring it down a little bit. But yeah, it's start Niners. Don't start Commanders. Like it's that simple.
How many times I get through one of these and the little trio to end it, and then I just wish I had said start this team, bench this team. And I'm going, fuck, I could have saved us 3 minutes of explanation there and just said start these guys, sit them, but nope.
Right. Nope. It's the 49ers like that every week. It's just like start the Niners. It's that simple.
Next up, Cardinals at Eagles. This could be very similar to the last game we just did, where if you have Eagles in your lineup, hope you get your points by. Quarterbacks, we've got 6th best matchup for Jalen Hurts. 2nd best matchup for Kyler. He's probably going to be higher this week than he is in most weeks for me. Hurts is my QB 1 on the week. Kyler is 10 on the week, which is probably the highest I've had him since Bipocalypse. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm really high on Kyler this week. He's my QB 6. So I think this is the Eagles matchup that he looked really good against the improved Chicago defense last week. So that gives me a little bit more confidence with him. But yeah, Hurts is QB 1 this week. He's the high end QB 1. It's a tier gap from him to Lamar. Yeah, I'm confident in both these quarterbacks. I'm starting them everywhere I have them. They both should go nuclear in this matchup. So overall, yeah, I want them in my lineups.
Yeah, it's actually, like I said, it's probably the highest I have Kyler this season by a considerable amount. Moving on here. Jeez, I can't fucking find my buttons. Moving on here to the running backs. Best matchup for DeAndre Swift, who I've tried to acquire simply for this game. 4th worst matchup for James Conner. DeAndre Swift I have at... Oh, I was like, why do I not have him ranked? I do. He's ranked at 5. That's how good this matchup is. James Conner is ranked at 18, so we have one that I think is a must start and one that is a probably start. RB2, that's probably, you got to start him. So what are your thoughts here on these guys?
Yeah, I'm still not there with Swift this week. I'm still starting him, but I don't think he's a must start. I worry about his lack of touchdowns down the goal line. It's just wild how Hurts gets all the touchdowns. And his passing game usage has been there. It's kind of hit or miss. So overall, yeah, I think this is one of those games he's going to have to give his points early. If it does get out of hand, then they can kind of run with Gainwell. But overall, I have him above Connor, but they're back-to-back. Both high RB2s this week. I just trust the volume Connor's going to get. So I'll prefer Swift, but you can go with Connor too as well.
Sorry, my DMs are blowing up. I'm getting nonstop notifications. I'm trying to silence them. We have this continued drama going on still, so good God, it's just unrelenting. Receivers, 19th best matchup for the Eagles. Cardinals get the best matchup for Hollywood Brown. What's the problem there?
He's on the IR.
Hollywood Brown is on the IR, announced this morning. You are correct, sir. AJ Brown at 4 for me. The next one's going to be Devonta Smith at 15. I don't even know who my highest ranked Cardinal is because I just got home from work on lunch and I haven't had time to adjust. I took Hollywood Brown out, but I haven't moved anyone out. Craig Dortch, I have in the 50s. He might move up into the 40s. Rondell Moore might move up, but he's in this 8. Like, avoid Cardinals receivers, basically. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's ugly. You know one of those is going to get volume, but good luck predicting which one's going to get it. So I'm with you. Dortch is the highest. I just, for some reason, my projections like him more. He's wide receiver 47. He'll probably bump to like wide receiver 40. Rondale Moore will go high end. But realistically, like, we'll talk about the guy that we want on the Cardinals offense. He's coming up the tight ends. But yeah, like, I'm very high on the Philadelphia pass catchers. Both are top 20. AJ Brown's 5 and Devonta Smith is 19. So yeah, start the Eagles. You know, like you said, maybe if you really need a dart throw, but you're in the championship, you should not be playing dart throws. So don't play the Cardinals wide receivers.
Yes, and I've heard this on podcasts a bunch of times where it's like, oh, is this guy a decent dart throw this week? You're in the championship. Right. Why are you playing dart throws? There's no better option for you?
Yeah. Unless you're like a 32-team league, and I'm in one of those, but like the team I have is absolutely stacked. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
All righty. Moving on. We've got tight ends. Tight ends, if I can find it. Tight ends. Where the hell is he? 14th best matchup for Trey McBride, 20th for Dallas Goedert. I've got McBride at 3. I've got Goedert at 11, which is probably high for me for Goedert. I'm never that high on Goedert. Yep. But they're both must starts. Kickers, Jake Elliott, 13th best matchup. Matt Prater, 22nd best matchup. They're both good kickers. I've got Elliott at 5. I've got Prater down more in the don't start range in the low 20s. So Prater's not good this week. DSTs, 12th best matchup for the Eagles, 19th for the Cardinals. The Eagles are DST 12 for me. Cards are 30s. They are a void for me. What do you got here?
I do worry about the Eagles defense a little bit. They're just not that good. Or they have talent. They have not played that good. So they're in that borderline start range like you're talking about right there. But I really don't want to play either defense or like it just worries me. And yeah, like McBride's tight end too. Like he's incredible. And I somehow had him one spot above Njoku. So that feels like it's gonna miss, but oh well, that's just life.
Right. Which game should we do next? Damn it. Computer issues here. That's the one I want to save. We will go the worst game on the slate, I believe. Always fun. That is Falcons. Sorry, Falcons at Bears. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Took a minute to process that one. 13th and 14th best matchups for the quarterbacks. Justin Fields is QB 8 for me. I don't care where I have got quarterback on. It's Heineke at 30 and Desmond Ridder at 33 because I don't have. This is like Washington. I don't have any faith either of them is going to start or finish a game. So I'm starting Fields. I have no interest in Heineke whatsoever.
Yeah, Heineke's just a worse version of Jacoby Brissett. So yeah, no thank you. I'm not doing that. He's QB like 20, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Don't play him. That's all I'm gonna say with that. And Fields is QB 7. So yeah, we play Fields in this matchup. Interestingly enough, Fields could be playing for the other side of the ball next year, so that would be fun if they got Fields. But yeah, there's going to be some changes in Chicago. But overall, yeah, you're starting Fields everywhere.
Sorry, I just seen something funny. Remember who we were talking about earlier? Mm-hmm. The Twitter account? Apparently, in real life, that person's a doctor.
What?
I had this conversation too.
I'm going to get them on my podcast. Now I'm curious. I'm going to pick this person's brain.
Yeah. Sorry, my kid is in the other room, and I don't know what he's doing if there's an elephant stampede. So, like, I'm just taking a second here because I think, am I in an episode? Am I in Jumanji here? What the hell is going on in the other room?
I saw an elephant just walk by your background.
All I heard was, I'm going, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah. Sorry. Running backs. I forgot what game we're on. Oh, no, I wish I had forgot what game we're on. 12th best for Bijan. 3rd worst for name a Bears running back. So Bijan I have at 10, and it scares the living shit right out of me. Mm-hmm. As far as Bears running backs, I've got Khalil Herbert at 33, Roschon at 42. The end. What are your thoughts?
So I don't know why mine has Foreman the highest of the Bears running backs, but it's 3 running backs clustered together.
Isn't Foreman
40. I don't know. My software must be tweaking. So they're from 40 to 46. Like
he's on the injury report, but he looks like he'll play.
Yeah, so I don't know. They like him more. So this is my always issue with Chicago. You don't know which running back to trust. Why would you be playing any of them this week? Because it's just chaos every week. They switch it up too much. They don't trust those guys. So yeah, no, thank you. And yeah, like Bijan, he was better than the week before. He's my RB11. I'm totally fine playing Bijan. He's just too good. Like even though the situation kind of sucks, the talent's there. You just can't trust it.
Oh, sorry. I'm having issues with the computer, and every time I try to click over to a new screen, I have to type it back in to bring up the other rankings and all sorts of technical difficulties here. Sorry. Last week, we're not ending on a great note here. Wide receivers, 20th best matchup for the Falcons, 2nd worst for the Bears. I don't think I want any receiver in this game, and I'd be interested to see who my highest is. DJ Moore's playable, I guess. I have him at 19. Drake London I have down at 35, and that's where my interest ends. So I have an RB wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and that's it.
Yep. I actually have London a couple spots above Moore. Moore struggled the past few weeks, so they need to figure that out because he's given you 7 and 3.5 points the last 2 weeks, and you cannot have that in your championship weeks. He's also dealing with he's finally off the injury report, so he should be back to his normal self. But overall, 100% with you. Like I'm playing London because the matchup's so good. And Moore, he's just been really good this year, so you kind of just trust DJ Moore this week. So overall, not playing anyone else besides those two. The offenses just do not allow us to have them.
And in championship week, like I don't mind playing DJ Moore, but I'd rather not play Moore, and I have no interest in playing Drake London. Like this week, there are very few players I actually want to have to play.
Yeah, you can definitely bench them, 100%.
Tight ends, 3rd best matchup for Pitts, 9th best matchup for Komet. I'm sure I have Komet higher unless I was drinking when I did this. I don't. How do I have Komet? Oh, he's got a questionable tag. Okay, so Komet is questionable with a knee injury. I have him down at 17. He's going to move to top 12 once he's cleared. I have Pitts at 15, and Pitts is going to stay around 15. Kickers. 4th best matchup for Cairo Santos of the Bears. 19th best matchup for Koo of the Falcons. I don't know if I have either of them in a decent area here. I have Santos at 21, unplayable. Koo is borderline playable here. I have him at 13, so if you've got him, you can play him. It's a decent matchup. He's been underwhelming this season. DSTs are interesting streamers. 7th best matchup for the Falcons, who made my Crossing the Streams list and should guarantee that we'll put up at least 8 fantasy points or have a decent week. Not great, but they won't kill you. 14th best matchup for the Bears. I have the Falcons ranked as DST 11 on the week, and I have the Bears down at, I don't even know, down at 17, and I feel like that's not low enough. But the problem is both offenses are terrible, but both defenses aren't really that great either. So this is one where if you're desperate, you can play them, but I don't know if I really want to have to roll these guys out for my championship.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to either as the elephants are stopping in the background. I would just avoid them, honestly. And I really don't even want to play Kyle Pitts. I know he was okay last week, but my projections like him more than I do. Ideally, if you're playing Kyle Pitts, you know what you get in this matchup. So hopefully Komet comes back. He's just been far better. So if he doesn't come back, then it gets really interesting.
Yes. Did I tell you? I'm just noticing that now. My graphic said the Flackens. I must have been watching. I was doing them during Thursday Night Football, and it maybe auto-corrected to Flacco, and I added an N on it, but apparently they are the Atlanta Flackens.
That's a way better name.
Atlanta Flackens.
Go sign Joe Flacco, Atlanta.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I had heard that it's a possibility that Atlanta is looking for him or Russell Wilson next year, so they could be the Flackens. If he goes to Atlanta next year, I am going to call them the Flackens all year long. Not going to lie.
That would be glorious.
Moving on to a decent matchup here. We have 2 teams that are both fighting to get in the wild card spot. Packers at Vikings. Love and Jaron Hall. I'm not even sure when I looked at I have Jaron Hall ranked, but we'll see. 16th best matchup for what I had as Nick Mullins and is now Jaron Hall. And someone is spamming people on the trade block in one of my apps, and it annoys the hell out of me. My issue with that is just say your team's on the block. Like, don't put every player. He puts the same 10 players on the block every week, at least once a week. Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked. People.
Dude, Jacoby does it all the time. Drives me nuts.
Yes. So 16th best matchup for Jaron Hall. 18th best matchup for Jordan Love. I am sure I have Love the highest. I do. I have Love at 13. I have Jaron Hall at 26. I have Nick Mullins at 25. So I obviously haven't adjusted. But having said that, Nick Mullins may score more fantasy points even though he's not going to play. So play Jordan Love. Don't play whatever quarterback the Vikings trot out there. It's truly ugly.
We saw Bryce Young carve up this defense. And I know Green Bay's pass defense has been really bad lately. I'm still not doing this. Jaron Love, Hall, whatever his name is. We're not playing him. Dude, it's taken them forever to make him a starter. They've had like 5 starting quarterbacks this season. Jaron Hall finally gets his opportunity. I'm not doing it. Like, do not play this guy. It's far too risky. But yeah, Jordan Love is QB 10 for me. I love what Jordan Love's been this year. He's a good matchup. Like, we're rolling Jordan Love.
He's not doing it. Not doing it. All right, wide receivers. 10th best matchup for insert healthy Packers receiver here. 15th best matchup for insert Vikings healthy receiver here. I'm going to start just doing this. I'm not going to name players anymore. It's just insert healthy player here. All right, so assuming everyone's healthy-ish, Justin Jefferson at 5 is where I have it. Then I'm way off the board here. I would imagine that Addison's my next highest. He's not. It's Jaden Reed at 29. Romeo Doubs at 38. Is Addison not healthy? Why do I not have Addison ranked?
He is limited participant and practiced yesterday. So
that's
ankle injury. Yeah.
So I have Justin Jefferson as a must start, and then I have a bunch of guys where any of the 4 Packers receivers and Jordan Addison, if any of them are healthy and any of them play, they are a decent streamer, but really it's Justin Jefferson, and I want nothing to do with any of this mess.
Because my projections dropped Addison down to 56 based on the injury issues and all that stuff. If he's healthy, he's going to shoot up. But yeah, I love the way. So Jaden Reed finally looks like he's going to play this week. His role is the best on the Packers for the wide receivers without Christian Watson. And Watson's not practicing, so he's probably gone. So I have Reed above Doubs, but I'm playing both those guys. If you need to, Reed immensely more confident in him than I am with Romeo Doubs. It's just far more fluky with him. So yeah, Reed 17, Romeo Doubs is like 25. But once you get into that range of wide receiver with Romeo Doubs, it's just guys that could burn you each week. So overall, I'll play Reed. Justin Jefferson's his own beast. Like, he auto starts. He's just too good. Outside of that, there's question marks.
Oh, this is exhausting. This who's healthy, who's not every single game.
We skip running backs also.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. All right, fine. 9th best matchup for the Vikings running backs. 22nd best matchup for the Packers. I don't know who's healthy and who's not. Let's just go through. We got Aaron Jones at 17. I've got Ty Chandler at 26. I want no part of A.J. Dillon. Alexander Madison I have down at 51. There was a reason we skipped it subconsciously. Go ahead. What do you think about those guys?
What the hell happened to Ty Chandler last week? He had like a good role, and he saved you with a touchdown, but he literally did nothing. He got 8 rushing attempts. He saw 65% of snaps, but it just did not work out according to plan. And yeah, like, Jones was good. So, like, you could fire up Jones. I don't know why you would consider firing up Dillon. Chandler's like a deeper league play if you want to go that route. He's 24 for me. Dillon's 37. Dillon sucks. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. He's not good. So overall, that's where I'm at with those guys. It's basically Jones or bust kind of.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it plays out. Back to the land of injured players. Tight ends. 15th best matchup for. Really?
It's like an air siren.
It's my kid in the bathtub. My mom put him in. Apparently, he got himself messy while I was on lunch. 15th best matchup for who's the backup tight end in Minnesota? Johnny Munt.
Yeah, basically.
Avoid it.
Whoever it is.
21st best matchup for the Packers. It could be Kraft. It could be Musgrave. I don't know. I have Kraft at 14. Musgrave would be 14 if he plays. I don't love any of these options. Kickers. 6th best matchup for Anders Carlson of the Packers. 20th best for Joseph of the Vikings. Joseph, I have at 13. Excuse me, indigestion. Carlson at 22. I don't really want either of them. The DSTs. Packers at 9. 9th best matchup, and 28th best matchup for the Vikings. Packers, I think, are going to be higher. They are, but they're back-to-back 18, 19. I don't really want either of them. So tight end, kicker, DST. I don't think I want anything from this game. How about you?
You could play Kraft. He's been pretty solid as long as Musgrave's not. If
I'm
Musgrave
not sure
played, it's
Kraft is the problem.
it's chaos. Like it could be chaotic with those guys. He's been better. I saw someone on Twitter was trying to hype up freaking Josh Oliver, and I said, "What the hell are we doing? This is championship. Nobody's playing Josh Oliver. Do not play Josh Oliver.
Johnny Muntz, the third string."
I was like, just no, stop talking. Like, I'm not going to respect what you're saying. If you're trying to hype up Josh Oliver in the championship game, we're not doing that. So yeah, you can play the Packers tight end if it's Kraft. If it's a mixture, like I don't know, I'd rather just avoid all of them like you're talking about. It just seems risky.
All right, let's pick one of our remaining 4 games, but there's 3 I'm picking from. Let's go with Rams at Giants. I think the Rams are still in the playoff hunt. Giants are not. We have Matt Stafford against not DeVito. It is Tyrod Taylor. It's amazing how many changes have occurred in the last 24 hours since I made the graphics during the Thursday nighter. Quarterbacks. We have the 15th best matchup for Stafford and the 5th best matchup for Tyrod Taylor. I have Stafford at 9. That's probably the highest he's been all year. Tyrod, I don't mind as a streamer. Having said that, I have him down at 19. He's kind of a desperation option, but his rushing floor gives him, an opportunity to produce here. I don't really want to roll with him in my championship week, but it is what it is.
Yeah, like if you look at even this year when he's played the full set of games, he's had 8 rush attempts, 5 rush attempts. Even in a half game, he had 5 rush attempts. So overall, you know what you're getting out of Tyrod. He just has a higher floor. So yeah, if you're in that streamer range, it's Tyrod. He's definitely a floor play. He's not a ceiling play though. That's the thing you have to get through your head. So you could play Tyrod. It's just interesting. It could backfire where he just gives you 10 to 12 points. On the flip side, he's been one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. We roll with Stafford. I have him at QB 12. I love what Stafford's doing with that offense.
Running backs, 8th best matchup for the Rams, 2nd worst for the Giants. Kyren Williams is my 2. He's an absolute must start. Saquon is still 10th overall. So that scares me. He's one of those guys in Bijan territory there and Eckler territory where they're like a low end 1, high end 2, and they're probably a guy you're going to have to start, and you just hope they don't burn you. I would easily prefer Kyren Williams over Saquon Barkley, and that's not something I ever thought I would say, but welcome to 2023.
Yeah, my daughter's in the background calling for me, so I'll take a second here in a second. But
I don't even hear over the chaos in my background, so
yeah. Saquon's very matchup dependent. If he has a good matchup, he explodes for points. Bad matchup, he does not. So I'm fine starting him. He's my RB11, but I don't expect what we got against Washington a few weeks ago or Philadelphia this week. I think he's very close to the floor play. It's just volume with him. And yeah, like you're saying, Kyren is volume in a very good offense, and his role is fantastic. It's the best in the NFL. So yeah, Kyren's my RB2 as well. I love what Kyren Williams is doing. So if you got him early this year or you got him for a championship, you're loving life because you know you're going to get 20 plus points against Kyren Williams.
Wide receivers, 5th best matchup for the Rams. The Giants are the 11th best matchup, and yet this will be all Rams. Puka at 7, Cooper Kupp at 12. Scroll, still scrolling. Wan'Dale Robinson at 48. Yeah. Awesome. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Wan'Dale's very much a PPR scam. The problem is he does not get the high-end volume targets where it really matters that much. It's more like he's a PPR scam with 7 targets. And it's really hard to be a difference maker. You can't be like Amon-Ra and getting limited targets. It just doesn't work out that way. Everything's behind the line of scrimmage, all that stuff. So, yeah, no thank you on the Giants wide receivers. We're not doing this. We're not doing it. You know what it is with our Rams wide receivers. They're both the guys that you want to start. Nakua is above Kupp for me. He's like you're talking about. You had him at 7. I have him at 12 and 18 with both of those guys. So, yeah, I'm starting them. I'm not starting Giants wide receivers. I'm just not doing it.
Sorry, I'm dealing with an issue. I have my work league. We played on the honors system this year, and we just said, screw it, pay at the end once you've been eliminated. We had a buddy bring in, to replace a manager, bring in one of his friends from the outside, and we're waiting for him to pay, and he's saying, I think I paid before the season. Meanwhile, nobody paid before the season, so.
They're like, no, dude. Yeah, we had that issue. Our commission just forgot to get payments for everybody for a league. So we started playoffs, and he's like, oh, yeah, maybe I should get payments. I'm like, dude, how did you forget? You're the commissioner. It's just your role job.
Yeah, we're a work league, so like I said, it's pretty laid back. But
yeah,
the one outsider who we were planning on kicking out anyways for bad behavior is, being a dick. All right, moving on to tight ends. 5th best matchup for Waller. 6th worst matchup for Higbee. I don't really want either of these guys. I've got Waller at 14. I've got Higbee at 24. No interest in either. Waller, I guess, out of desperation. Kickers. 16th best matchup for Haversack of the Rams. Giants, Mason Crosby gets the 7th best matchup. He looked good last week. Haversack I have at 15. Crosby I have way down at 26. There's just not enough info on him so far in the season to accurately gauge, but I don't really want to start either. As far as the DSTs go, best matchup for the Rams. I've learned for DSTs, when anyone ever asks me who I want to stream, my answer always is, if you can stream anyone against the Giants or Jets, stream a defense against the New York teams and you're good. So best matchup for the Rams. The Giants have the 4th worst matchup. The Rams are my DST 8. The Giants are my DST 27. So that one's pretty simple there. What are your thoughts?
Yep, 100% with you and all that. It all just intuitively makes sense, right? Like you start those sides, you don't start the other ones. Like it's straightforward.
You would think, but people overcomplicate it.
We do. We overthink everything.
A divisional battle here that will see the Saints finally eliminated from this pathetic, piss-poor division. And I say that as a Saints fan.
You know they're going to win, probably.
I never thought in a matchup between Carr and Mayfield, Derek Carr would be the clearly worst quarterback of the two. But here we are. Derek Carr, 8th best matchup. Baker, 8th worst matchup. I have Baker at QB 11. Good God. And Derek Carr at 16. I guess you can play Carr in a super flex. Baker, depending on your scenario, could be your single QB quarterback for the fantasy championship. And I never thought I would utter those words. But what are you going to do?
Right. That's life. I mean, Baker's a top 12 quarterback this year. He's been good. He's just slowly just kind of going under the radar, but he's doing enough to just get by. Especially the last few weeks, he's kind of gone off. He's hit 20 in the last 3 games. So he's really kicked it up a notch. Derek Carr finally turned it on. Had a ceiling game, which I didn't know Derek Carr had a ceiling because he put up 25 points last week. And I was like, wow, that does exist for Derek Carr. So, yeah, shocking. But, yeah, you can stream Derek Carr if you're desperate. But overall, I'm with you. I'm starting Mayfield over Carr. They're 2 spots ahead of him. It's 12 and 14. Overall, you kind of know that range of quarterback. You play him. Definitely Mayfield over Carr, though.
Running backs, 5th worst matchup for Alvin Kamara. 10th worst matchup for Rashad White. I have Rashad White still as my 4. I have Kamara as 13 and no interest in anyone else. So they're both, one's a must-start RB1, one's a must-start low-end, high-end RB2, but you're starting both of them.
Yeah, it's just – yeah, I'm with you. It's just White's role's better. He's also just younger. He's more explosive than Kamara at this point. Kamara is just volume play. He's there.
Commanders quarterback Jacoby Brissett is now questionable with a hamstring injury he suffered in today's practice.
We are so back to the Howell experience. Fire up the defense against him, baby. The 49ers are going to roll. But, yeah, you know what you get out of these running backs. White's just been really good. He's got one of the best, pass-catching profiles in the league. He's just not an efficient back, but it doesn't matter. He's RB4 on the year. It's just he's awesome. I can't fight it anymore. I'm done fighting the Rashad White thing. I'm very much in. He's my, RB3? Yeah, he's my RB3. Kamara, he's a volume played RB8. You know what you're getting out of these guys. You play them.
I feel like the doctor from the first Hangover there. We are back. We are back. We are getting Sam Howell back. Good God.
Halfway through second half, you're like, oh, God, what did we do? We messed up.
All right, wide receivers. 4th best matchup for Chris Olave. 8th worst matchup for Mike Evans. Let's see. Olave is a must start for me, I'm sure. Oh, it would help if I wasn't looking at running backs. That's why I can't find him. Olave is my 11. Oh, Evans is the highest. Evans is my 7. Yep. Olave is my 11. Then we're moving down. I'm sure I've got Godwin in the playable range, but it's way down there. I have Rashid Shaheed at 40. Chris Godwin at 20. So I have 2 absolute must starts, a probably start in Godwin, and then Shaheed as a desperation start.
Yeah, people were worried about Evans, and then Lattimore's out. And I was like, yo, you guys realize, his nemesis is not playing in this game, right? Stop worrying about Mike Evans. You're going to play him no matter what. But now he's just an auto start. He's really good. Interesting enough, the last 3 weeks, Godwin's been the guy that's been basically the wide receiver 1 on that offense. So I don't know if it's been a shift in the offense or what it is from his defensive, But Godwin's very much entered a guy you want to play. He's my wide receiver 16, and I'm very much on board with him. Olave, he's top 10 for me. Like, I'm firing up all three of these wide receivers wherever I have them.
Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap this part up here. The last, and then when we start the new one, I'm gonna have to let you talk about the quarterbacks. I have to get clothes for my kid getting out of the bath.
You're good.
Of course. Tight ends, we have 7th best matchup for Juwan Johnson, 13th best matchup for Cade Otton. I don't have either of them ranked inside the top 20. Juwan at 21. I have Otton at 18. So I lied. I'm a big fat liar. Kickers, I have Chase McLaughlin of the Bucks, 11th best matchup, 26th best matchup for Groupie of the Saints. McLaughlin's at 16. Groupie is at 23. So avoid both. And DSTs are 26th best matchup for the Saints and 24th best matchup for the Bucks. I think I have them both in the 16 for the Bucks, 20 for the Saints. I'd like to avoid them both if possible.
Yeah, it's very much seems pretty self-evident with these, like the tight ends, the kickers, and defense. Kind of like it's very iffy. You could probably have a better player to start over those guys. If you wanna ride the Taysom Hill roller coaster, you can do it again. Just know it might burn you again. So there is what it is.
All right, I have brought up the next game. It is Steelers and Seahawks. Can you take a second to assess the quarterback? I gotta get this for him. Sorry.
Yeah. So we got two teams that are fighting for playoffs once again. The Steelers, the offense has just been an enigma of itself. It's really hard to describe what's going on with there, especially with Mason Rudolph. He's just not a good quarterback. On the flip side, we have Geno Smith. Geno is coming alive. He did what he had to do to keep the Seahawks alive and win. So for my rankings, interestingly, I'll pull them up really quick. Like, obviously, I have Geno Smith far above Mason Rudolph. Like, it's an offense you can trust. The matchup is not the best in the world, but really don't care. Geno's my QB 15. I'm fine starting him as a one quarterback in a Q2B or in a super flex league. I'm very much firing him up. On the flip side, Mason Rudolph, you're not playing Mason Rudolph. He's not a good fantasy asset. He brings down this offense. So overall, I'm a little bit hesitant with the Pittsburgh players in this game. The good thing for them is just the Seahawks defense is not that good, so you can play a few of them. But overall, start Geno when it comes down to it. Do not play Mason Rudolph in this matchup. It's that simple, folks. Like I don't know why you would play Rudolph, but that's the quick explanation of it. And then we can get on the running backs here in a second. I'll pull them up.
No, I got him. Running backs, we have, what are we on? Pittsburgh, Seattle?
Yep.
6th best matchup for the Steelers, 13th best matchup for the Seahawks. I have Ken Walker as my highest. He is at 15. Then I'm going to go down here. We've got Jalen Warren at 30, but that's weird. I feel like I would have had. Oh, no, I have Najee. That's back-to-back, 30-31. But I think I like Najee more, but it's close for me. Thoughts?
Yeah, they're. I literally just my projections just put them back to back every time now because you kind of know they siphon each other and they just clip each other. There's no ceiling involved with either one of these guys, so they're very much in the RB3 range each week for me. I think Jalen is one spot ahead, but realistically, like, it doesn't matter. It's the same kind of dart throw you're throwing with both of them. You need one of them to find the end zone, and I think Najee has a better shot at that. On the flip side, Walker is he's still the better running back in Seattle, so he's the guy I have. I'm curious about Charbonnet. I have Charbonnet at 50, so I'm not doing that. But Walker's really the only running back out of all these four that I want to play. Outside of that, you can step into the, whichever Pittsburgh Steelers running back you want to play. Ooh, what up, Brandon? All right, so we have a question for Brandon. It's a Pacheco, Saquon Diggs, or Devonta Smith pick 2. Now, that's really interesting. And considering the injury with Pacheco, I don't think I'm doing the Pacheco situation. But it would definitely be, as frustrating as Diggs is, probably Saquon Diggs for me. How about you, Aaron?
I thought the obvious one for me was Devonta Smith.
Yeah, you could do him too. The hard part for me with Diggs is it's been so bad recently, but he's still better overall. That's the thing. My projections like Diggs more, but I would not follow anyone for going Devonta. It's just
I think I go with. I understand if you go the two. I personally go Devonta and Saquon. I think.
Yep.
I could also go Devonta and Diggs. I wouldn't be sitting Devonta is what I think.
Yep, I think that's a smarter play, honestly. I just it's hard for me to sit Diggs. He's one of those guys that I just know so good. But yeah, if you want to get him, do it. I like that. But yeah, they're all kind of similar. Sorry, I can't talk.
Fucking people, man. All right, sorry. What are we moving? What were we on? We're moving.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver. We have 12th best matchup for the Steelers, 17th best matchup for the Seahawks. I'm not particularly high on any of these guys. I have DK at 21 And Pickens at 26.
Ooh, interesting.
Deontay at 34, JSN 37. I feel like, I skipped Lockett. Lockett's at 25. So my top two, I have 2 Seahawks in the top 25. Then I have between 25 and 35, 2 Steelers, and then JSN just outside in a wide receiver 4 range.
Yeah, I have DK higher, but he's dealing with a back injury, so I'm probably going to bring him down lower. Shocking, more injuries in this one, right? DK is like right on the borderline, top 12 for me, and then it's Lockett 26. This is the first time my predictions have had Pickens above Deontay. I mean, it's really difficult with like his massive blow-up game last week and Deontay's struggles. You kind of know as it is, but they're both in the 30s. I have Pickens at 34, Deontay at 37, and then JSN at 46. I don't want to play JSN. You can pick a Steelers wide receiver, whichever one you prefer. You can play them. But overall, it's the 2 Seahawks wide receivers. The top 2. They're the ones that anyone should be playing this
matchup. Tight ends here. 16th best matchup for the Steelers. 17th best matchup for the Seahawks. I don't want either of them. I have Freiermuth at 20, Fant at 28. No, thank you. Kickers. 18th best matchup for Jason Myers of the Seahawks. Steelers get the... Oh, there they are. I forgot what their logo looked like. Boswell gets the 15th best matchup for the Steelers. I don't have either of these guys ranked either. I'm sure they're way down there. I have Boswell. Where the hell are they? Oh, no, I have Myers at 11 and Boswell at 19. So I guess Boswell if you're desperate, but I don't love them. DSTs, I've got the Steelers 25th best matchup, 20th best matchup for the Seahawks. Seattle is my DST 10. Pittsburgh is my DST 21. I don't really want to play either. I know I have Seattle up at 10. I feel like I'd like to move them outside the top 12. I'm not all that comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'd say Myers is the only guy really I want to play out of all of those guys. The rest of them, I don't want to go through that experience, to tell you the truth.
Fair enough. Let's close it out with the best game of the week. Never thought I'd say that about a Lions game. Lions at Cowboys. Helps that we have 2 starting quarterbacks. 7th best matchup for Dak. 19th best matchup for Goff. Dak is my QB2. I'm like, where's Dak? It's a good matchup. Dak QB2, Goff QB12. I think they're both must starts. Neither team is all that great on defense, and this could be a high-scoring one. But I also said last night was going to be a low-scoring game, and then they put up 50 points in the first half. So
weird. Joe Flacco just wrecked everybody's plans. But with Prescott, you're getting the Lions defense that has struggled like the second half of the year. So overall, I got Dak Prescott QB4. You're firing him up everywhere. You should get a vintage Dak game, and the good side, not the bad side. And Jared Goff. It's interesting enough, both these quarterbacks have these games where they have really great games and they struggle. I expect this game to be a complete shootout, so I want both these quarterbacks in all my lineups.
Yeah. Running backs. Worst matchup for Pollard. 12th worst matchup for Gibbs. I've got Gibbs at 8. Pollard at 9. Montgomery at 16. So I've still got 3 top 16 running backs here, even though I think this is probably more of a passing game. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. My projections like Pollard more, but I'm flipping it. Like I'm moving Gibbs above Pollard. I'm not doing this with Pollard, man. It's just so frustrating. I like Gibbs' role more than Pollard's role, honestly. So I'm putting Gibbs above. Good. He's just a better player. Like that's the thing of what it is with Gibbs. He's just awesome. So like I trust the talent of him more than I do Pollard. He's been kind of hit or miss. He's been fine, but yeah. So I have Gibbs as a high end, like a mid range RB1. Pollard's like on the fringe of RB1 territory. And then if you need to fire at Monty, fire at Monty. Like he can get touchdowns. He can find the end zone. Like Monty's fine for you.
Wide receivers, 6th best matchup for CeeDee Lamb, who's a must start. 6th worst matchup for St. Brown, who's also a must start. I have Lamb as 1. I have St. Brown as 3. I'm not really considering anyone else in this game. I think Brandon Cooks is down there at 35. Yep, 35 if you're desperate. Jameson Williams, I have at 49 if you really, really need a dart throw. But for me, there's 2 absolute must start studs, and then I'm out.
Yep, I'm with you. Jamo's seen 6 and 7 targets last 2 games, but you still can't trust it. Like what it is with him. Him and Cooks are kind of the same bet. You're expecting a big play or a touchdown. Outside of that, it's the 2 high-end wide receiver ones in this game. You fire those guys up and you roll with them because you know what they're going to do for you. They're going to ball out.
Tight ends, 8th best matchup for Ferguson, 3rd worst for Laporta. Still, I have Laporta at 4. I have Ferguson at 6. I think they are both absolute must starts. The kickers, it is the 4th worst matchup for Michael Badgley, 8th worst matchup for Brandon Aubrey. Aubrey's still my kicker 1 on the week. Badgley is lower. He is at 18. I don't really want anything to do with him. He doesn't have much leg. The DST's second worst matchup for Detroit, 12th worst matchup for Dallas. I've got Dallas at 20. I've got Detroit at 29. I don't want either. So in the end, you're starting Aubrey. You're starting both tight ends. And I don't really want anything else to do with this game. Well,
no thanks on the defenses. Yeah, that just sounds awful. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. Gotta love having Dallas ride Dallas all season, only to get to the playoffs and not be able to use them.
That's what we talked about, right? Their playoff matchups are brutal. It's like, have fun with that.
All right, that concludes our last preview of the season. We are back Sunday at noon with our last sit-start show of the week. And then Monday at noon, we're going to be doing our season recap instead of a game recap. Then I believe it's a week off. And somewhere around the second week of January, around the 15th, I think we're aiming for, we're going to be starting up with some rookie profiles and some other things, maybe some mocks. We're going to kind of wing it. So check us out on Twitter and stay tuned. We will, we'll let you know when we figure out the exact game plan. So everyone, good luck in week 17. We will see you Sunday at noon. Take care, everyone.